When he's not racing karts, teaching you how to type, or
stomping Koopas,
Mario spends his leisure time in the sandlot, the pitch, court, and even the links. The Mario sports games were an unexpected success and spawned many sequels. And I played and ranked all of them, and these were the results. There'll be no mention of the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games video games because those are like its own genre. Also, no Mario Kart games for the same reason. And one game will get the S+ tier and be crowned the best Mario sports game ever. And lastly, there'll be no mention of any handheld games because the first real Mario sports game was Mario Golf on the Nintendo 64. I actually really enjoyed this title because it's exactly what the title says. Just Mario characters playing golf, absolutely nothing else to it. There's absolutely no twist on the way the game is played. It is just getting the ball in the hole with as few strokes as possible. Get in the hole! Get in the damn hole! Let's go! That being said, this isn't for everyone, and for someone like me who doesn't particularly enjoy golf to begin with, I don't see much of a reason to play this game while something like Wii Golf is around. This is just golf with the Mario roster, except Mario isn't even unlocked by default. Instead, you've got Plum and Charlie. Who the f are these people? I think Nintendo was still feeling out how they wanted to approach the sports games with this one, so they took a very tame approach, and that's just fine. I actually do think the funnest thing about this game was the mini golf mode. One, because it's like the closest thing to like a party mode you have in this game, and two, putting is pretty difficult in this game, and this helps you get better at that. Also, when it comes time to putt in this game, the most stressful music of all time is blaring in your ears. This is the music that would play if Luigi was trying to defuse a bomb at a f***ing children's hospital. And if you get anything past a bogey, Peach looks like she just witnessed that children's hospital explode. C tier. Oh, what a f***ing teardrop. Mario Tennis was released around roughly the same exact time as Mario Golf in the Nintendo 64, and the same exact concept was here. This is literally just tennis, but with the Mario roster. And this time, no bullshit-ass Charlie or Plum either. I actually really like the gameplay on this one, maybe a little bit more than golf, but I think that's just me enjoying the sport of tennis more than golf, so that's just like a bias thing. It's a very satisfying gameplay loop that requires a good amount of skill where ball placement is really important, and there's also some side modes that are fine, but really nothing crazy. Pretty decent game, but when compared to most of the other tennis games, this one doesn't really stand out in any way. Another C tier. Toadstool Tour is another easy one for me. It's the same exact game as the Nintendo 64 version, but just better. Reskinned with cutting edge graphics on the GameCube, I struggle to find any difference from these games other than the amount of content. And there is a lot of content in this game. If I did my math correctly, there's somewhat like over 100 holes in this game, and that's pretty impressive for a game on the GameCube. And that already is enough to make it better than the Nintendo 64 version, in my opinion. The only thing that could have given it even more extra sauce was the addition of that mini golf mode, but that is nowhere to be seen. But there is this new mode where you pull a slot machine lever, and that dictates what you can use and what parameters behind how you play each hole will be like, which was a nice little twist, but not enough to give it anything above a B tier. We have now entered the golden era of Mario sports games, starting with Mario Power Tennis on the GameCube. And now this is where the fuckery of the Mario sports games was birthed. Power Tennis is still that tennis game from before with the really good mechanics of tennis, but now you have your special abilities that is unique to every single character, and each character has two, one being a free return no matter how far away the ball is from you, and the other being a power shot that has some type of gimmick, making it very difficult to return. Also, if someone wants to give me a lore check as to why Luigi's power-up involves him like swimming in a pool and like hitting the ball back, I'm all ears for that. These are charged pretty quickly, and it's not uncommon for like multiple people to have it at the same time, meaning volleys last pretty long considering that there's going to be at least like one person who has their power-up ready, if not every single person on the court at that time. I mean, seriously, just look at this. There's literally like 4 abilities in one, and then you have like 2 regular volleys, and then someone already has that power-up back ready again, which I think is really fun. That makes the game like pretty difficult, and also like while we're talking about the difficulty, the AI in this game is very impressive. Usually you're left getting pissed off at your teammate AI, but they're actually all really good. Like very rarely do they like f it up for you. But just like Toadstool Tour, there's tons of content. Like I think there's over 10 courts in total, and each one of them have obstacles and more of that f***ery. And that also helps diversify this already awesome gameplay, since no 2 courts are identical. And on top of that, you have some fan favorite mini games here, most notably the Mario Paint one where you have to match the colors of the picture on the court. Then you also have that Sunshine one where you have to like play tic-tac-toe with the lava spouts, which that was my personal favorite. I don't know. The tournament mode is where I spent most of my time, and this is where I'm going back to the AI, because once you get to the harder difficulties, this game is genuinely challenging. Honestly, the AI might be like a little bit too good if I'm being honest, but who doesn't love a good challenge? Fun fact about this game, it also got a re-release on the Wii using the motion controls, and I never played this game. I always stuck to the GameCube version, but if someone has any type of like strong opinion on that, I would love to hear your opinions down below. But this game is an A tier. Come on now. This shit is f***ing awesome. This was my first experience with any Mario sports game, and I really just went like head first into the balls of Nintendo. But there is way more to this game than you would ever think. The chemistry system plays a big factor in rostering your team, since the added buffs of people on base, in your lineup, and next to each other on the field can dramatically alter their performance. And even deeper than that, there's all the hidden abilities that each character has. And speaking of those characters, this is also a huge roster and very impressive for the time, even like considering modern sports games. Like you've got like Petey Piranha and King Boo, which like didn't really have a reason to be in this game, but it just works. And since each character plays different, it actually dramatically affects the gameplay and like the meta. Yes, there is a meta for this game. Check out Dinger City's YouTube channel. They'll even break this game down even further than me. And back to those character abilities, and I'm not talking the star abilities for captains, which are very cool on their own. I mean things like the ultra fast run of Monty Mole and the laser throw from the Blue Pinta dude. The game doesn't outright tell you these things, and you just have to learn them from experience. Hence why this game has garnered a cult following and is honestly like a very small scale esport because of how competitive this game can be. With all these hidden quirks, you can now get really f***ing good at this game. Outside of the addicting and competitive gameplay, the other side modes for this game aren't anything special to me. The only one I think is worth playing is the Toy Field. It's this weird take on baseball that actually works really well for a 4-player party mode. And if you have more than 2 players at home, this is the mode I would stick to. But if you're not playing head to head and are on your lonesome, I think the challenge mode is where it's at. It's this game's campaign. You start off with one captain and like their roster, but then you play against other teams and you get their characters by like doing well and completing missions, which is really fun. And you play Bowser after you play those matches, and then it continues to like get harder and harder until you do the rainbow difficulty, I think. You also unlock Bowser's Castle as a level, which gives you 6 ballparks in total, which all have their own little quirks, which makes this game even more unnecessarily sophisticated, which is awesome. No. We're gaming. But if you watch my 10 out of 10 multiplayer games, you would know this made the cut, and that's why I'm giving this the S+ tier. Best Mario sports game of all time. This is another banger that a lot of people love, and for good reason. It's a super gritty take on soccer, especially for a Mario game. There's no rules whatsoever, so Mario can snap Donkey Kong's femur no problem. Seriously, the violence on this game is like honestly pushing the boundaries of a Nintendo game. And I wouldn't even say it's like FIFA Street. I would say this is like NFL Blitz. I mean, this is like low-key gruesome. You can hit anyone at any given time, and it's honestly a viable strategy for goalkeeping. If you're able to land a full charge shot, you can score from pretty much anywhere, and it makes for some very satisfying gameplay. Oh my gosh! 3 seconds in and we're doing that? Oh my gosh! And on top of being able to kill literally every single person on the field, there's also items thrown into the mix, which are also very powerful. Mastering the use of the items is another very valid tactic for this game that can get annoying, which is part of the good chaotic fun these Mario sports games have to offer. My only gripe with this game is that it's a little stale on the content outside of the gameplay. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay is phenomenal, and that is like honestly, arguably, sometimes the only thing that matters. But captains are the only people who have like any type of special ability. And outside of your captain, you pick 3 sidekicks and they're all the same character, and they're just like don't really stand out in any type of way. And those captains have the special ability where like if you charge it long enough, you can like do this little timing mini game, and if that ball goes in, it's worth 2 points instead of 1, which is a really fun concept. I do like that. But the fact that if you charge up a ball with any of the sidekicks, it does absolutely nothing, that just kind of takes away from me just a little bit. They put a lot of emphasis on the captains, which I don't really like. The stages are also the exact same with absolutely no like variety to them. It's just a soccer field. There's no like little quirks to it like there is in Mario's Baseball. But this game is just outclassed by its successor, which we're literally just about to talk about. But that being said, Strikers is an A tier. Remember those complaints I was literally just talking about? Strikers Charge fixed all of them. That edgy, gritty, and violent gameplay is still here, but with a few tweaks. The ball is now a metal power orb that charges up the more you pass and shoot it around, and then becomes like way more likely of a shot that's gonna go in, which in and of itself is like the best gameplay change they've made to this game. It works so well and completely changes how you play it. This directly incentivizes and rewards you to add a little more flair inside of your gameplay. Holy hell, that was clean. And also, now every single character has a dash move when carrying the ball that is unique to every single character. And this goes beyond captains. This is literally every single player in the game has some unique juke that is honestly like a big part of how you play that character. Toad can hop over people, Dry Bone like teleports, and Hammer Bro throws a hammer down below him that hurts other players. And on top of that, every single one of those players also has a special charge shot that is also really good. Lightning shots, fireballs, and then Shy Guy's Kamikaze Bullet Bill War Crime that sounds like the Call of Duty 4 Desert Eagle. These two mechanics make the gameplay even more fun and allow you to get really good at this game, which you're gonna have to get good at this game if you want to beat it, because this game's difficulty is insane on the later cups. Honestly, blurs the line between like so hard it's not even fun, but still like you know you can do it. It's just gonna take like a lot of practice. One other rework from this game is those captain shots are now different. The longer you hold it, the more balls you'll shoot, and I'm pretty sure you can score like 6 or 7 goals if you max it out. Obviously, it's really hard to do that, but if you do, like, you can get some really high scoring games in this game, which is fun. And also, if you're on the receiving end of this shot, you have to use the Wii remote and actually point to block, which I thought was actually pretty satisfying. I know a lot of people think that's annoying and kind of just like, you know, motion controls are stupid, but I didn't really see a problem with it. It's honestly very mild. I was also low-key good at it too, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, that was pretty nice, not gonna lie. The fields also have their own quirks this time around, and there's one where like a cow just randomly like gets blown onto the field, which is kind of funny. And all the old fields from Mario Strikers are in this game. Literally every single one of them are playable, so that's a nice little like bonus. But this is the best Mario Soccer game, and it holds up very well. I really enjoyed playing it around this time through, and this is another S tier for sure. And now we're at Sluggers, which is the Superstar Baseball sequel, but for the Wii. Unlike Strikers Charge, this whole game has motion controls, but they're not annoying in any way whatsoever. The gameplay is nearly identical, but now you have just more content to a game that already had a ton of content. Now you have 9 ballparks to choose from, each having a night and day sequence. There's even more characters, which I want to highlight, like King K. Rool and like Funky Kong are in this game, which are 2 characters that just get no spotlight in Nintendo games anymore. That chemistry system returns, and there's even new abilities like robbing home runs and the chemistry throw and hanging onto walls. And this time through, the game holds your hand a little bit more. You're actually like given instructions on how to perform these actions when you're playing the campaign, which we go ahead and talk about the campaign. I don't think it's as good as the Superstar Baseball one because it's way more focused on just doing like small little missions or mini games, whereas Superstar Baseball was playing actual baseball. Once you have a good enough roster, you go fight Bowser Jr., then you fight Bowser, which, I mean, it's fun. It's just a little different, not the way I wanted it to be, but it's definitely not bad. The toy field is also back and is just as good, if not better. I think a lot of people actually say this one's better. There's just like a little more depth to it. But overall, I think Sluggers and Superstar are honestly about on par with each other. It's really dealer's choice. It's definitely at least an S tier. I almost put it S+ tier, but Mario Superstar Baseball kind of laid the framework for this game. Mario Sports Mix is kind of tricky, and I was really debating on even including it in this video. It's acting as a compilation game with hockey, volleyball, dodgeball, and basketball, and the games are fine. They're just kind of like a more watered down version of the sport. The way I would describe it, it's kind of like of a Wii Sports, but with Mario characters, and I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. It's just very simple. There's like little Mario quirks to it with like items and like the way the game's played, but other than that, this really doesn't stand out at all. I mean, you're getting your value here. You're getting 4 sports, and they all have a challenge mode with like the cup, so that's pretty nice. But overall, I didn't know how to rank this, but I'm just gonna give it C tier. If you think it's better or worse, go ahead and let me know down below. Man, we are on a roll right now. S tier, A tier, S tier, S tier, and then whatever, we got a C tier. Surely we're not gonna get a game that's gonna be,
Oh my goodness!
holy f. I personally think the Wii U gets a little too much hate, but then I remember that Ultra Smash existed on the Wii U, and it kind of helps me sympathize with Wii U haters. This game sucks. I could write a book as to why that is, but to keep things pretty simple, this game has less content than the N64 tennis game. And also, yeah, look at this menu. This is all there is in the game. There's no hidden mode you get for playing the game. This is literally everything the game has to offer is right here. The stage is the same for every match, but the only thing you can change is the texture of the court. There's only 16 characters. There's no type of cup or single player challengers mode. The gameplay adds nothing new to the table. And there's only 2 side modes, one of which being the Mega Mushroom one, which is just not fun and really unfair, frankly. And then you have the rally mode, which just lets you rally with an opponent, which basically is like playing tennis. Yeah, needless to say, this game sucks. It has absolutely no content. I can't believe this was a full price game at launch. On top of this, there's absolutely no difference in the characters. At least I felt I couldn't feel anything different from like Bowser to Peach. It was like playing the same exact character. I really went in with an open mind. I was kind of thinking to myself, there's no way the game was actually this bad. And then I played it and I genuinely hated every single second playing this game. It's fun for like maybe the first match, and then you're like, oh, what else is there to it? And then you find out there's literally nothing else to it. The first F tier on this list. To follow up the dumpster fire of Ultra Smash, only 3 years later, we got Mario Tennis Aces for the Nintendo Switch. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun with this one. The game starts you in the single player adventure mode, which was fine. I wasn't crazy on it, but it was fun enough to where I'll probably go back and finish this eventually. It does a really good job putting you in these like scenarios and mini games where you're like fighting bosses and help you learn how to do different shots, which like the game has a little more depth than you would think. And while I was playing this adventure mode, I was like, damn, this probably replaced the tournament mode. But then I left adventure mode and saw tournament mode is still here, which was a really pleasant surprise. Granted, there's only 3 cups and there's really no like incentive to replay them because you already have characters unlocked and all that stuff. But I still thought it was really fun and also gets pretty difficult, which I really like. But back to the gameplay, which I think is way different and honestly like a lot of fun in this game. You now have a stamina bar, which charges like your special shots, and there's a couple different versions. There's like, you can slow time on one, you can like return balls that are way high in the air, and just like all sorts of other fun things. If your bar is full, you get to do an ultimate ability, which is unique to every player, which is also really cool. But with these special hits, you're able to return them, and if you like return it badly, like time it poorly, you'll get like an X on your racket. And if you get 3 X's, your racket breaks and you immediately like don't hit the ball back, which I thought was kind of annoying. This was the only problem I had with this game, was this breaking mechanic. I think they were just like riding the circle jerk of Breath of the Wild, I guess. They loved when things break in your hand, so that's why this existed. The events of where this actually does happen is few and far between, and if you're really good at the game, it, in theory, could never happen to you. But still, it was just something that kind of made me anxious while playing the game. I don't know how else to describe it. But like I said, I really got to highlight how fun the overall gameplay for this game is. The character selection is really impressive, especially compared to Ultra Smash.
Holy shit, this roster is fat.
You have some off-color characters like Chain Chomp and then the Fire Plant, like that's really fun. And unlike Ultra Smash as well, they all play way differently from each other. King Boo's normal hit is like a super crazy curveball, which is honestly so annoying but so broken. You have characters who are more like technical, that's kind of like Boo, what I was talking about. Then you have like strong characters and balanced characters, and they really do play way differently from each other. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised when playing this game. I didn't even realize it had been out for like almost 6 years now, and their reviews are pretty polarizing, and I don't really understand why. It's a solid game. Easy B tier. Super Rush was the first jab at a console golf game since Toadstool Tour. And the whole gimmick of this game was like the speed mode, which was focusing on how fast you can get the ball in the hole, not on like how many strokes. While it does have its charm, I just did not like this mode, like even in the slightest. It gets old really fast. There's a couple other spin-off modes like the battle mode, and this one was just not fun at all. I know chaos is like the whole thing of these Mario sports games, but there's a difference between chaos and like unplayable.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
Then you have the adventure mode, which is just flat out bad in my opinion. For starters, there is just way too much dialogue for any golf game, let alone a Mario golf game. I mean, I don't give a shit about whatever lore that Toadette's speaking here. I mean, can I just play the damn game? I had no interest in going past the first tournament, so I spent most of my time on the traditional golf mode, which is fine. It still has its little quirks, you know, like there's some like hazards on the stages, and like everyone has like a little special power shot that really doesn't make much of a difference in my opinion. But I'll be honest, I had probably the most fun on like the regular golf mode. Nothing to do with the speed rush thing. There's also a side mode where you drive your ball and then you have to put it in. You only get like 2 shots. I think this mode was also in Toadstool Tour. But this is where I spent most of my time, and I thought it was pretty fun. It's honestly like kind of hard, but I couldn't help to think that I'd rather be playing Switch Sports Golf when I was playing this game, and that's just not a good thing whatsoever. I can tell you one thing, this game is definitely not worth $60, and that's how much I paid for it. This is a D tier. I bought Strikers Battle League right as it came out, and I was pretty stoked to play it, and I hated it. Then when I'm about to replay it for this video, I saw a lot of people talking how the game saved because of post-launch content, which shouldn't be a thing in any Mario game, by the way. But anyways, I still hated it. The character selection is very slim, which has always been the case for these Striker games, but on top of having the smallest roster in any Strikers game, they also don't stand out from each other once again. I mean, that was like the whole thing with Strikers Charge, like every character felt different. Now they just have little statistic sliders and nothing else. Also, now they added like the gear system, which just makes the characters better, which I don't like at all. Characters should be characters and that's it. There should be no sliding unless you're like playing a modded version of it. I don't even know. This just shouldn't be in the game. There's no special shots, no unique juke moves, and nothing fun about each character whatsoever. The special shots are now all the same for each character, and it's like back to that whole like 1 goal equals 2 goals if you hit it. But to hit it in the first place, you need to find a specific item on the map which charges every character on your team, which I mean probably makes for a more balanced experience, but it's just not fun. The game honestly feels just like soccer, which I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing, whatever, that's kind of subjective. But that makes the game not feel like Strikers whatsoever. They took literally everything good about Strikers Charged and made it just not fun. That whole charged ball mechanic from Strikers Charged is now gone as well. The ball's just the ball. I think the reason they made all these drastic changes from the formula was to make it a little more like competitive and multiplayer based. And I played this game on my lonesome. I don't dare touch online. I don't think like Nintendo games are really designed to go online whatsoever. But I think that's what they had in mind for this. I think they're trying to make like a diet FIFA. I think if Nintendo had it their way, there'd be a Mario Ultimate Team in this bitch, which would just be terrible. But I will say this game does allow 8-player multiplayer. I didn't get to experience that because I played this game out by myself, but like if I had 8 people, I'd probably give that a go, and I'm sure it's pretty fun. If you're playing single player mode like I was, all there is the cups and nothing else to it, and they get pretty old pretty fast, and it's honestly just like so repetitive and dull. It's honestly really sad to see such an awesome franchise get turned around upside down on itself, because there is just no reason to play this when Strikers, or better yet, Strikers Charged exists. The game is less fun, there's less content, and it's not like downright bad, but it's pretty damn near. I had really high expectations for this game, but I'm giving it a D tier. But that is every Mario sports game ranked. This is what our final tier list looks like. Go ahead and take a picture of it and get pissed off at me, because I know you disagree with it somewhere. Let me know if you want to see me do this with another game series. Like I was thinking about doing maybe Mario Party next. If that's something you want to see, go ahead and let me know down below. And if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And thank you so much for watching.